Okay, 7:03, I'd like to open the planning board meeting, April 27th, 2022. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First, I'd like to welcome Jason Tyler and Howard Schaefer to our board tonight.
Welcome.
Thank you. All right. So first on our agenda is going to be the site plan review for CDL Associates Insurance Agency. If you can just, do they need to come up to the table for?
Yeah.
Speak into the mic,
Yeah.
yes, up at the table.
Well, it's for the audience on Zoom.
Okay.
Could you state your name?
Yes. Victor Lang, L-I-N-G-E.
Okay. Karen, do you have any input for this once we get before we get started?
No, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's Suite 2 down on 4 Bridge Street. There was a retail shop there that proposing to put in this insurance agency office. I did have to refer it to the county, and I've received that referral back already with that they will concur with whatever decision the local board makes. And in my file, I have 2 authorization forms because this building is in the process of being sold. So we have both parties, the present owner and the proposed buyer have both sent in authorization forms for them to, giving permission for them to be their agents. And I believe that they have submitted a jurisdictional inquiry to the Adirondack Park Agency, and they are exempt, and that's in process. That takes about 3 to 4 weeks to come back, but it is in process. And seeker, I believe they're exempt under 617.5C18.
So who is technically the owner? Is Joni?
The owner is Mark Franzoso. The Joni McCleary is the proposed is the person that's buying the building. But I have both agent forms here.
Okay, so is it all right to fix? Well, this is just an application. It's not really a legal, correct?
Correct.
Okay. For our new members, we have a criteria for site plan review, which I got right out of the zoning ordinance, and I'll just go through it. This process, I believe this is not going to have a problem. We're going to go through this anyway, item by item.
That's fine.
The first item is a positive relationship to adjacent and nearby land uses for both public and private. This is an insurance agency. I don't think anybody disagrees that this would fit in well with our community. Suitable location, arrangement, size, design, and general site compatibility of buildings, lighting, and signs. We just had a business go in there a year ago. There's plenty of lighting there, parking across the street.
There is a thing for the sign
Right.
on the back page
Oh, on the,
application.
yes. Where are they gonna put the sign?
Off of that,
Right.
and there's going to be some signage that we follow the protocol, we review it, and more than 35% on those.
Well, if you'd you've done much better than I have. That sign section is pretty lengthy.
Well, we're making sure we're 100%
Yeah.
compliant, because the idea is we're part of the community.
I sent them all the sign information and they have an application for it, which will be taken care of if they get approved.
Visual compatibility with surroundings. The building's already there. It's been, businesses have been there, so that's not a problem. Adequacy and arrangement of vehicular traffic access and circulation including intersections, road widths, pavement services, dividers, and traffic controls. I don't believe that's going to be a problem for the business, and there is a parking lot adjacent across the street
Yes.
for the drugstore and the other business that's in there with you. That's the next one. Acceptable location, arrangement, appearance, and sufficiency of off-street parking and loading. I'm sure, is everybody familiar with the, where this building? The adequacy of stormwater and drainage facilities, that doesn't even come into, compliance. Adequacy of water supply and sewage disposal facilities. You'll be renting, correct, from the new owner? Yes, the adequacy, type, and arrangement of trees, shrubs, and other landscaping constituting a visual and or noise buffer between the applicants and adjoining lands, including the maximum retention of existing vegetation. Once again, that really doesn't come into compliance, but I'm just going through all the criteria. The adequacy of fire lanes and other emergency zones and the provision of fire hydrants. That's all taken care of in the town, and you're compliant with that. The project's impact on the community's ability to provide adequate recreation, education, fire protection, and similar facilities and services to its residents and visitors. Once again, not a
Actually, we're
problem.
gonna help with that.
Right, exactly, with the insurance. The adequacy and impact of structures, roadways, and landscaping areas with susceptibility to ponding, flooding, and erosion, effect on air and water quality standards, applicable primarily to industrial site development plans. The insurance agency is not going to be affected. An effect on energy consumption and conservation, which that would be a problem either. Does anybody else disagree with me? Okay. So in his application, he describes where the building is going to be, the signage, what his businesses consist of. As Karen said, he has seeker exempt, and the APA is in process. Does anybody have any questions about this application for the site plan review? I think it'd be a good addition to our community, since now the building's empty again.
It's actually already cleaned up a little bit too, so.
Yeah, I went by it the other day. It is. It's nice.
Yeah, we cleaned the windows. Like, it's all the difference in the world. So
When do you actually plan on going in there and doing business?
it's not really scary, but if everything goes through today, Monday.
Oh, great.
So we actually have 3 other locations. We are, Heidi and I, my business partner, we're in work.
Oh, I-
We'll be back and forth to this office, but we have people that are already working for us, so we're right here.
That's great.
So we will be in this office, so we'll likely employ 3 people probably in this office.
They'll live in our community.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Right.
When we did our first interview from that office this evening before coming here. So it doesn't have carpet in it, and we use lawn chair. For that old wood, so that's a nice spot.
We already have typical business hours, like 8 to 5, 9 to 5.
Yeah, and after hours by appointment and weekend by appointment. So whatever anybody needs.
Anybody have any questions for that?
If anybody has, we do all insurances. Anything that you can think of, auto, commercial property, the life and health, employee benefits. We do all.
Just out of curiosity, it has nothing to do with this, but where are you in Northville? I used to manage the store up there, Grand Union, where it was a Grand Union.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish I was back, but it's, right at the bottom of the hill, it's, as you come in, into Northville. So, the old,
Oh, okay, yeah,
so our office is there.
okay.
We used to have one in Bridge Street. We worked with, we had a different site.
Any questions for the applicant or anybody have any? So I would like to make a motion that the application is complete.
Yeah.
And we will go down to the future.
Second,
Excuse me. The lawyer here, can one of our members vote if he has insurance through that company?
As a client?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Just-
Good question. That's a good cross.
Yeah.
We gotta do roll call. Morton,
Yes.
Conway,
Yes.
McMahon,
Yes.
Krimsky,
Yes.
Springer, yes, Tyler,
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
That's pronounce it correctly? Thank you.
We're exempt from the seeker, so we don't have to vote on that. The APA is
In
in
process.
process.
We take about 3 to 4 weeks to come back in once, and you put it in last week? Yes.
Now, is that something that they need to get before they open their business? Because it sounds like he's ready to open.
And then approve it with the conditions of the APA non-jurisdictional.
There was a business in there before and they were selling, I mean, this is just an insurance business.
Retail.
Right.
But
Yeah, I would think that if you were to move forward with an approval right now, it would have to be conditional on the APA coming back with a non-jurisdictional, because otherwise the APA wants to have a seat at the table, so to speak. So either you have to wait till you get a non-jurisdictional letter from the APA, or you can move forward with it being conditioned on that non-jurisdictional letter from the APA, which then the applicant will provide you. Or look,
they send me a copy when APA sends me a copy of anything they do in Luzerne. Can they go ahead and open though without that? I mean, if it's part of the condition of our approval,
Right.
they would be opening kind of at their own risk.
Right,
until
our
they-
approval doesn't give them the okay or the no on whether or not they can conduct business and have the clientele coming in and out. So the approval from the town would, give them the site plan approval, which allows them to operate in the space pursuant to code. And then if something came back from the APA that would require us to take another look or to address something that the APA brought up, then we'd have to make a modification at that point in time.
Yeah, everything else in that building has come back non-jurisdictional from them, so, okay.
So I need the wording for the motion then.
If there is a motion to approve the application, grant the site plan approval, it would have to be conditioned on a non-jurisdictional letter from the APA. If there's a motion to table or deny the application, then you don't have to have a condition.
Okay, before we get to that, I'd like to just go to number 4 and make a motion that we don't need a public hearing for this applicant.
Second.
Morton. Conway,
Yes.
McMahon.
Yeah.
Krimsky,
Yes.
Springer, yes, Tyler,
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay, so on our final motion of approval, I make a motion that we approve this pending the jurisdictional inquiry, which is in process by the APA. And that the seeker they're exempt from the seeker.
All right. So you make a motion approval conditional.
Right.
With
On the
no
APA.
Non-jurisdictional.
non-jurisdictional letter from APA. And exempt seeker. Okay. Morton,
Yes.
Conway.
Yes.
McMahon.
Yes.
Kaminsky.
Yes.
Springer, yes. Tyler,
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Welcome to the community.
I appreciate it. Thank you very
luck.
much for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Yes.
Feel free to stop in our office at any time.
If for some reason I should get something back from ATA, I'll be in contact with you. Negatively, I'll be in contact with you about that. But thank you.
Sorry, I just want to make sure I had the right wording for it.
That's why I have to get open for it. Next is the applicant for Jennifer Rice and Stephen Parsons, zoning district residential rural. Parcel number 292-1-43, 15.47 acres, location 43 Howell Road. And the representative is, Yep.
With a two-lot subdivision plan. You don't have a copy of. Same time the property owner is submitting a particular fire reform to the APA. Property. Creating a mark in the back of the absolutely going to require permit, but it's really kind of part of the process anyhow. And you know that this is kind of putting the ball rolling on the town and put it in front of you. Get familiar with it. Second, terms of the applicant data for the government notice form. When the application comes back. The intention is to split off a 2.57 acre lot on the west side of the property to build a smaller residence and garage with approximate location shown. So the soil will be wetland.
everybody should have a big map. As part of the-
I think each one of you should have,
Right.
yeah.
So Jennifer and Steve are the owners. Right.
So they took ownership, 2012, or 2 days of the children. So
Okay.
they're looking to sort of, part of this is to subdivide and, then just go to state, create a smaller lot. And, a smaller residence on it. for future planning purposes.
Karen, this is a minor, right? This hasn't been split before at all.
Actually, whether it's minor or major is your decision, but based on what is in the subdivision book, it's less than 4 divisions, so it is minor.
So it could be,
Just so that you're aware, in your subdivision book, there are other things that make it a major, like if there was easements or something involved, it then becomes a major, I believe, so. But that's not the case with this. This all has road frontage and stuff, so you're okay.
could it be subdivided again if they wanted to, still be a minor?
Yes, you go back to the parent property, which would be the 11-acre piece. I'm sorry, the 15
15,
and a
right.
half. And so this is 2 subdivisions. This is considered 2. If they came in and wanted to subdivide that 11 point something one further, that would be 3, and down further would be 4, et cetera.
Okay,
So,
that's part of, there's a new people, that's part of what make the minor and major is how many times It's divided,
We always go back to the parent parcel.
right, which is 15.747 acres.
3 acres is required for the RU zone. On your dimensional table, you'll find that under single family home.
So the zoning code, if you see it in the paperwork, is 3 acres, which they're gonna make this a little over 3, so they're gonna be fine as far as acreage. As everybody can see, and their maps, the marsh. That's why they're cutting. We have some new people, so. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm just curious, with this marsh, is flooding a possibility? Like with heavy things and, like we used to have.
My knowledge, the legs of it are, it's a pretty defined edge to it, so it looks like, it's, you know, it doesn't really fluctuate a lot. And goes back 10 years around here, it was 500 year storm, so it's always potential. Now, it really, it looks like there's a pretty good contrast between the wooded portion of the property and the marshy area, so it doesn't really change a lot. throughout the year.
Karen, tell me if I'm wrong. With this, where the APA looks at this, they're going to be able to say, okay, you can build a house on this? Is that part of their?
That will be part of their process, yes. They will identify the wetlands. And again, as we've said in other meetings, you can't build on wetlands. You can
Right.
build up to them, but you can't build on them. They will do a site visit, they will flag the wetlands, and the house will have to be placed off those wetlands. If for some reason the placement gets changed, that will change on the survey. It's same as what we just did with that other one. We brought it back. We got reapproval again because there were minor changes on the plans, on the survey, not plans, sorry.
So they will make the determination as
They
far as,
will, yes.
So they're gonna send in the GIF, the APA. We will, coordinate with them, the soil scientists and the wetland biologists. For the drill, we'll get them on site at the same time, and have to flag the wetlands, and also we'll do the detailed test, look at the soil and the water table. And all the data is recorded as the map. As I said, there's a pretty stark definition between the marsh area and the woods, so it really don't anticipate it being very different than the footprint that you see here as far as wetlands, but whatever it is, because they're going to go through essentially, we're going to need a permit. Buildings and septic areas certainly can't be within 100 feet, to buffer the wetlands. It's going to depend on the soil and depth of that rock. So all of those things, which would normally be part of the process of selecting a house site, are going to be needed for this permit. We're just going to kind of go through the process of the APA and meet all of their criteria, which is going to help sort of steer the property owners toward the best spot to put this proposed house anyhow.
Are you looking for final approval tonight, or are you just looking for like a sketch plan, preliminary plot?
Really, I mean, it's apart from the town code side of things, it's pretty straightforward, but obviously, you know, there's going to be a question. So, you know, approval or review, whatever, we're going through the process now. Going through the property under this meeting, the paperwork already, so it's, I would imagine it'll be probably the next couple of months, it'll be wrapped up and we'll be back. Or, you know, we'll have satisfied that part of it. Anyway.
Right, they send me a. And once they issue their permit and.
So, lawyer, as far as our part, we go through approving everything if we wanted to, but it has to go through APA before, I mean, this would be something that, or do we just approve certain items and?
Yeah, I think you're taking this about as far as you can in terms of you know, reviewing it for questions or feedback that you would have, knowing that there's going to be some feedback and a process still to go with the APA. So potentially we could see, as Karen was alluding to, a shift in the line here or there. I would say at this point in time, with what still needs to occur, you're not looking at this point in time to approve, from my standpoint, approve based upon you know, conditioned on the APA's. I think you'd want to see what comes of that to then make a final.
Okay. But we could probably approve the sketch plan,
And probably the preliminary plat,
right?
which is basically the same.
Now, the seeker would have to wait for the APA, right? Or no? As far as that, no?
Well, they have done this, so we can review that, correct?
You can, you know, I think that there could be some changes or some impacts based on what feedback from the APA is. But at that point in time, you can also relook at seeker. So that's up to your comfort.
Thoughts from the board?
Contingent.
So go through the sketch plan, the seeker and the preliminary, and then come back to the APA
Yeah, because we'll have to.
and the final approval.
Okay. Approve contingent on the APA and wait for their feedback for the APA for adjustments
Okay, we're not
to the
gonna-
house
we're not gonna approve that.
placement and any APA concerns.
Barb, any thoughts on it? Everybody's thoughts?
Oh, I would agree with Wayne.
Go through
Do what
some-
we can tonight.
Right.
With the having that.
Okay. Howard?
Not disagree.
Okay. You don't think we should also approve anything?
As far as how I understand what you're saying.
Oh, well, what we're saying is we would go through approving sketch plan, seeker and preliminary plat, but not the APA till we get that information. Okay. Yeah. Jason, what are you feeling?
I agree, you know, the survey is pretty clear. I think we can move forward with sketch plan and preliminary contingent on APA.
Okay. So go for the first process. I make a motion, we approve the sketch plan.
Second,
Dane,
Yes.
Conway,
Yes.
McMahon.
Yes.
Kaminsky,
Yes.
Springer, yes. Tyler,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Okay, before we do the next seeker, I have to read it into the record. That need to be done?
Well, in order to answer your questions, you have to go through it, yes.
Okay. So this is the short environmental assessment form. Applicants are Jennifer Rice and Stephen Parsons. If anybody agrees or disagrees at what they've checked off, let me know. I'm going to go through it. And if I agree with it, I'll let you know. Does the proposed action only involve the legislative adoption of a plan, local law, ordinance, administrative rule, or regulation? It says no. Does the proposed action require a permit, approval of funding from any government agency? Yes, APA, which that's what we're going to wait on. 3, total acreage 15.47. Total acreage should be physically disturbed. More than 1 acre, total acreage,
Less
Right.
than an acre.
less than an acre, sorry. So the total acreage, project site, and any contiguous properties owned or controlled by the applicant or project sponsor is 15.47 acres. Check all land uses that occur in adjoining or near the proposed action. There would be forest and rural. Question 5, is the proposed action a permitted use under zoning regulation? Yes. Consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan? Yes. Is the proposed action consistent with the predominant character of the existing built or natural landscape? Yes. Is the proposed site of the proposed action located in or does it adjoin a state listed critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in a substantial increase in traffic above present levels? No. Are public transportation services available at or near the site of the proposed action? No. Are any pedestrian accommodations or bicycle routes available on or near the site of the proposed action? No. Does the proposed action meet or exceed the state energy code requirements? No. Will the proposed action connect an existing public-private water supply? And they're going to have a drill, correct? A well water, so it would be no. Will the proposed action connect to existing wastewater utilities? No. And if no, oh, you have it here. Okay, if no, describe the method, and it's going to, construction will have a new septic system installed. Number 12, does the project site contain, or is it substantially contiguous, a building, archaeological site, or district which is listed on the National or State Register of Historic Places, or that has been determined by the Commissioner of the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, or Historic Preservation to be eligible for listing on the State Register of Historic Places? No. Is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Office? Archaeological site inventory? No. Does any portion of the site of the proposed action or lands adjoining the proposed action contain wetlands or other water bodies connected by a federal, state, or local agency? Yes. Would the proposed action physically alter or encroach into any existing wetland or water body? No. Identify the typical habitat types that occur on or likely to be found on the project site. Check all that apply. Wetland and forest. Does the site of the proposed action contain any species of animal or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? No. Endangered? No. Is the project site located in the 100-year flood plan? No. Will the proposed action create stormwater discharge either from point or non-point sources? No. Will stormwater discharges flow to adjacent properties? No. Will stormwater discharges be directed to established conveyance systems, runoff, and storm drains? No. Does the proposed action include construction or other activities that will result in an impoundment of water or other liquids? No. Has the site of the proposed action or an adjoining property been the location of an active or closed solid waste management facility? No. Has the site of the proposed action or adjoining property been the subject of remediation, ongoing or completed for hazardous waste? No. There another two, sorry. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use or use plan or zoning regulation? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use of intensity of the use of the land? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies? No. Or public-private wastewater treatment utilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources such as wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to an environmental resource of human health? No. And bottom, based on the information and analysis above, any supporting documentation, proposed action may result in one or more potentially large or significant adverse impacts, or the other box, which is, we have determined based on the information and analysis above and any supporting documentation that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. And we'll check that box. We'll do the- That's the short form secret. So I make a motion that we approve the seeker determination under short form.
I'll second it. Morton,
Yes.
Conway,
Yes.
McMahon.
Yes.
Krenski,
Yes.
Springer, yes. Tyler,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Okay, we're going to skip the APA for now. Should we, I mean, it doesn't call for a public hearing for a minor subdivision. I don't think that's going to change whether we have the APA approval or not, correct?
It's up, it won't change, but I have to look in the book to make sure that,
We can wait on that till we get the APA approval.
no, I just want to make sure. You don't have to have a site plan, a public
Public
hearing,
hearing.
but you can call for one if you feel if one is required. So you have to decide whether you want one or not.
Okay. Well, typically in minor subdivisions, there is not, but it's still up to the board, correct?
Yeah.
Before I make a motion, does anybody feel that we need to have a public hearing for this project? Or well, for this minor subdivision? So I make a motion that we have no need for a public hearing.
I'll second.
Morton,
Yes.
Conway,
Yes.
McMahon.
Yes.
Krenski,
Yes.
Springer, Tyler,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
so no public hearing.
As far as the final plat, we don't really need to do that tonight till after the APA. Okay, so you're all set until you're ready to come back with that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christine.
Could be a couple months, right? All right,
Thank you.
nothing else on the agenda. We have minutes to approve, I believe, right?
Right.
This is for the March meeting, so typically what happens is we vote to approve, you would just abstain since you weren't here. We're going to okay the minutes.
Any update on the part-time zoning? Deputy?
No, they have not. They haven't hired anyone. I don't know if they've had any more applications in. We've received one application, but they have not done any interviews or anything yet. And no further information on the clerk for our boards either.
Hopefully soon,
Yes,
please.
I was told Tony earlier that after I took the meetings at the zoning board the other night, the chairman said he was going to speak to Councilman Niles, who's my liaison or is going to be my liaison, and tell him that we need someone that is very difficult to try to participate in the meetings and take minutes at the same time. It's just, I haven't even finished transcribing the minutes from the zoning board meeting, which was an hour and a half. So it's just a lot of work when you're trying to participate in a meeting. Keep the notes at the same time. So hopefully they'll act on it. We have an agenda meeting coming up Friday night. So
I'd like to make a motion with approve the minutes from March.
I'll second.
Morton.
Yes.
Conway.
Yes.
McMahon.
Yes.
Yes.
Springer, yes. And then Tyler.
Yes.
And then abstain,
No, abstain.
because you weren't present. And Schaefer?
That's the-
Thank you.
Okay. Any other old or new business?
I don't have anything.
Dana already expressed his inquiry.
I think of anything right now.
Okay.
If I can leave them right now.
Okay. Make sure you come.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Howard, do you have any,
No, this one is so required.
Yeah. Tony?
The one concern that I expressed before the meeting started, that I feel our meetings should be open and there should not be a waiting room.
Is that something we decided as a town board or what?
I would think it would be the town board that would decide that we don't have a waiting room.
You're
I think
talking,
it's just an IT thing.
just an IT thing?
It's not in the.
Okay. So we'll just open them when you turn the computer on, I guess. So I don't know what the waiting room really is. Is that what we were talking about earlier? That they can hear the conversation before the meeting?
Yeah, as potential before, as I set up all these computers, but then they're out of the room. So, I mean, I'll do whatever the
But
board. needs.
Tony made a valid point that anyone coming to the meeting hears it anyway, so why do it? So I don't get a vote. You guys decide.
My
whether-
concern is if somebody's in the waiting room, they can't participate in the building. or into the meeting. They have to wait until they're actually entered into the meeting.
Well,
And,
don't they get ended as soon as we start it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
right,
My job.
but sometimes when you haven't been here, we were conducting the meeting and then somebody was having to enter them, all the time, and we're trying to conduct the meeting and enter them. And people were being left in the waiting room and couldn't participate in the meeting.
But isn't that something you got to do? It's a computer thing, right? That's-
I have to manually do that.
that's what I'm saying.
My description.
So
Yeah.
even if they're not in the meeting, we can't do anything until he lets them in. So that would, everybody that's on Zoom when we start will be automatically open when the meeting starts. But if they join 10 minutes after, you have to physically put them on because there's no other way to do it.
One of my
So how can we? I'm not
That
sure.
when they join, they automatically join the meeting.
I don't know. Can you do that?
I can do multiple people have it, so that when I rotate here and it's on the record on YouTube, then I can let everybody else in.
Okay.
If that is too important,
But what I think it comes down to, what if we're 15 minutes in the meeting and they join? Will they automatically be able to hear? You have to let them in.
I have to let them
So it's still going to be a problem.
Right, but he's gonna change it that if they join, they automatically
They
join.
can't. He has still to let them
You
in.
still have, so there is a waiting room no matter what.
So I can, if you prefer, may I let them in once you rotate, or 5 minutes before, or.
Right. I think our problem, where the thing is,
Why do we
If
have a
it's-
waiting room for a
Well-
public meeting?
Is that
That's my
part of
question.
Zoom?
That's the Zoom function, I suppose, that's information on your website, anyone in the whole world can attend it. And filter out the people that they believe and members. It's the function of it, it's a filtration, so that anyone is arbitrarily, then having to leave them out manually after the fact.
So it's not something he can control. It's the way Zoom
Well,
is set
I've
up.
I've been in Zoom meetings before where there is no waiting room, is what I'm saying. I know you cannot have it open to the public without a waiting room. Yes.
Well, we can look into it. That's the best we can do for right now.
Only because, not since you've been here, but there's been other meetings where people are like, we've been sitting here for 10 minutes, I'm getting text, nobody's letting us in. And they want to join the meeting
that's
And
after the meeting started. right?
after the meeting
Yeah,
started.
that's where he has to actually physically
Right.
do that. Yes.
And there's been people that I've got text, they're not letting me into the meeting, I can't join.
Okay.
So, I got to do that.
Okay.
So I.
Hope-
Right now.
Right.
Right.
Hopefully, with having hired him to do that
Yeah.
particular job, that's going to eliminate
Okay.
that.
I think that, yeah, I think that was part of the problem. We just had anybody doing it.
Right, and it was a major issue.
Yeah.
People were like, we can't join.
Yeah, I think you're right about
And the
that.
building was closed and then they couldn't join the meeting.
Right, okay.
Give me like an operator, you know.
And I'm sure what happened before, we didn't have an operator. We had somebody on the board doing it and they were trying to participate and,
Take away from the job.
Right.
And it's- you hear that prompt, that noise,
Yeah.
that tells everybody that somebody's waiting to be let them in. When they do let them in, get this noise.
Okay.
When they leave, it makes a totally different. noise. That entity, that iPhone, so it can identify itself.
so I guess just don't get involved in our meeting, pay attention. I wonder if there's a function like Tony said, where just because we're having a meeting, somebody could just hook on and just, they don't need to be let in. It's automatically, you can go in.
So you work with Mike Coleman, correct? Is that Mike Coleman that set it up? Yeah, maybe we could ask him if there's some way. I don't know.
We'll make a waiting room, we're allowing ourselves to be subject to people coming in and speaking out, and
Right.
other job that I have here.
But you can automatically mute when they join though, right? You can mute them. That's a feature you can have. It's everybody's muted.
But if we don't have a waiting room, allowing them to join, then maybe that ability.
It's not.
Well, we can look into it.
Yeah. Give us some options.
Okay,
I guess that people should have the same opportunity to join the Zoom meetings as they do to walk in the front door. You know, they're not being asked where they live. They're coming to join the meeting.
Right.
Exactly.
or they raise their hand, we have a public hearing. I think that's the only time we ever, for the most part, the planning board, and I know about the zoning board, that people usually have anything to say is during that time. At least that's been our, unless we decide all of a sudden we're going to take public comments, but the public comments for our meetings are usually at the public hearings.
Public hearings, right.
Typically, it's just the person's coming up and telling us their case and we decide that case, whether it be a minor or a subdivision, whatever. Okay. Jason, do you have anything?
I'm good.
Okay. So make a motion, we adjourn.
One second.
Favor?
Aye.
Just as a side, we got to make sure we charge